Okay, everybody, welcome back. I hope you all had some life-changing conversations with those exhibitors out there. All right, so for our first panel today, we are very excited to welcome all of our panelists. Our topic today is a direct result of that movie that we were talking about yesterday, which was talking about the decline in civic engagement, that Join or Die movie. If you recall from the film, the answer to the decline in civic engagement, what was it? Social capital. He talked about in the movie how important social capital is, how it's the glue for our networks, for our communities, for our society. So our panelists here are all going to share. I saw Joe has what is the definition as part of the question, so I won't give any more clues what social capital is, but I'm going to introduce our panel and we'll talk for 45 minutes and we'll have another break after that. So our panel today, our moderators, Joe Garbanzos. He is the California president of AARP. We have Jennifer Bransford-Koons. She's the director of San Diego County's Aging and Independent Services. We have CJ DiMento. She is the director of the Oceanside Library. And we have Junne Esguerra. She's the chief program officer of the San Diego Seniors Community Foundation.
It is a privilege, good fortune to be moderating this panel. But I'd like you to join me in giving a warm and well-deserved applause to Team SEAL, Steve and others for organizing. Thank you. Well done. And this is the second year, so you could continuing to build. And also give an applause to Susan for a terrific job in walking us through the master plan for aging. Thank you. So we're going to build on the theme that Team SEAL has developed for the two-day event. And the focus is leveraging social capital for improved quality of life. That's the challenge here. So before we get into the questions here for the panelists, I'm just going to give you a scope and a statement of what we aspire to achieve in the next, 45 minutes, more or less, right? So the scope of the work is really kind of a definition of what social capital is. That's a term that's not commonly used in the aging space, right? Because older adults are perceived to be consumer, not capital, right? So we're gonna develop that and we'll leverage on your body of work to provide some framework around that to add to our conversation. So our goal here is to have a conversation with you. We have a panel here. We're gonna engage them in preset questions, but also looking forward to a conversation with the audience. One, two, offer you some resources that you can take away to leverage social capital. And this is my own opinion, right? I have to be careful to separate my opinion with SEAL's mission here. But my opinion is social capital is right here. That's each one of you, right? That's social capital. Older adults are not consumers of resources, they are capital. So I would like you to take away that theme as well. And then thirdly, create a continuing conversation with the community as to how we can leverage social capital for improved quality of life for older adults and other vulnerable populations. Okay, so that's the charge. And I'm going to ask the questions here. The first round will be 2 or 3 set of questions just to set the stage for conversation with the community. But the opening question is around perspective and framing, perhaps. How do you see social capital in your body of work, in addition to perhaps giving us a perspective on your organization's body of work? So we decided on an order of some kind here. So we're going to take the first question, please.
Yes. Thank you, Joe. Again, my name is Junne Esguerra with the San Diego Seniors Community Foundation. We view social capital as a bi-directional, multi-directional network of relationships. It's not just seniors reaching out. We look at this as people should be reaching out to seniors. It is investment in seniors, not just seniors investing in our communities. It's about trust, mutual support that empowers older adults not just to survive, but thrive. And we see this as not just a quality of life issue, but a public health imperative. As was discussed in the movie yesterday, I mean, there is nearly, well, this was not discussed in the movie yesterday, but there's nearly 130,000 elder orphans, that do not have a network of people, relationships, resources around them to support them. And without that, you see lack of independence, decline in physical and mental health, and a sense of purpose. So for us, social capital is our goal to strengthen this invisible safety net, so that no senior feels left behind or forgotten.
Thank you, June. CJ?
All right, so thank you. I'm so happy to be here today amongst your incredible community. And but as a public librarian, I would be remiss if I didn't mention a couple of books straight off. So as Jocelyn, I think, mentioned, the term social capital, it was addressed by Robert Putnam back in the 1990s. His book was called Making Democracy Work. Take a note of that if it's something you would like to check out at your public library, perhaps. He has a more recent book called Upswing. That also is an important title, really focused on social capital and really directing us to improve our considerations of social capital and our investment. In his book, he really stresses the importance of civic community. The importance in developing successful institutions where there's trust and cooperation. It helps create better governance and economic prosperity. He also calls for an increase in collective behavior. I completely agree with this, but I especially agree with the idea of trust. The public library is one of the most trusted organizations in your community. And I mean, I might be biased, but when it comes to trust, the library is truly rich. It's a place where people come together. They find shared and unique ideas. They civic engage. There's programs that are multi-generational. There's lots of components that create just a sense of place. It's important to learn through reading, lifelong learning, and cultivate personal tools and bridging gaps. One of the areas where the Oceanside Public Library particularly excels is in volunteerism, which equates to social capital, as Joe knows. We have almost 200 older adults, volunteers. They worked 20,000 hours in 2024. That's about $600,000 and about 9 full-time staff members. We could not do what we do at libraries without older adults. It's just a fact. So even though we benefit so greatly from these volunteers, I like to believe that they benefit too. And they feel more connected to their community, its future. They feel more connected with each other, more equipped to manage times when they need support and they need assistance. This capital is beneficial in both directions, as June mentioned. And what it comes down to is that older adults are incredibly, incredibly valuable.
Well said. Jennifer?
Thank you. So I'm Jennifer Bransford-Koons from Aging and Independent Services with the County of San Diego Health and Human Services Agency. How many here have heard of Aging and Independent Services? Yeah, I'm so happy to hear that. So you all probably know that really our goal is to ensure that older adults have the opportunity to be healthy, safe, and thrive within our communities, which is really all about social capital, right? It's about the interdependence of older adults with the community, with their family, with their friends. It's a social fabric that goes between so many different things, whether it's an older adult who's reaching out for help, somebody that may need help after surgery. My mom's about to have shoulder surgery, and so I'm going to go help her. That's part of social capital, right? But it's also about older adults and what they give back to the community. You heard so much about that already. So it's not just about what they're taking, as Joe mentioned, it's really about what they give back. As I'm heading closer and closer to being an official older adult, I think it's important that we don't discount what they give to society, whether it's babysitting for their grandchildren, whether it's a volunteer opportunity at libraries or for our very own long-term care ombudsman program, and if anybody's interested in volunteering there, please go and see Kristen. So it's really about that social fabric. The other thing I just wanted to mention briefly is we heard a beautiful description of the master plan on aging for California. And that really has led the charge for so much of what we're doing. But here in San Diego, we also have our own local master plan, for lack of a better word. We call it our aging roadmap. And so our aging roadmap fits directly. We've had that since 2019, and it fits directly in with what the master plan on aging is doing. We have 10, because we always have to do things bigger here. We have 10 goals, but there's things like that include in there, like the health and community supports and the silver economy, because we do know affordability and aging is really a big deal here in San Diego. And so that goes back to that social capital, being involved, whether it's volunteer work or still holding a job or whatever that might mean for that older adult. That's what we look for when we talk about social capital for AIS.
Thank you, Jennifer. I heard from a reliable source that part of the inspiration in coming up with the master plan for aging at the state level was the San Diego example. So, right, so we're fortunate to be living in San Diego County. Thank you. So the next question is a build to the previous question, maybe more focused on programs with a special eye on collaboration with other agencies to produce good outcomes in terms of utilizing social capital.
Yeah.
So with that, I'm going to ask CJ to tee us off for the next question.
Sure. So firstly, I would just want to make sure that I want to encourage you to reach out to your public libraries as a conduit for the work that you're doing, as a location to provide a workshop, and really to get information out into the public. Think of us as a partner. Please, if you take anything away from me being here, think of us when you're thinking about how to connect with your community. So there's lots of programs that the public library does. Oceanside Public Library really is packed with programs. I'm going to go through these quickly, but I do think it really is important to hear the breadth of the programming that the public library does, maybe to kind of give you a framework for when you're working with folks, when it might be a great time to connect them with their public library and their librarians. So the amazing AARP does workshops at your public libraries. Alzheimer's San Diego is there on a monthly basis doing workshops. It's a great way to connect. We are daily connecting with people that say, I need help. I need help with finding resources. And you've heard that, I think, all morning. How can we better be a conduit to assist you all in the work that you're doing? Because we're up for it and we want to help people get that information. So in Oceanside, we do have our local shelter. Our navigation center is there, helping as a conduit on a daily basis for our unhoused community. The library is a microcosm of a community. And what we are seeing is an older population that is unhoused. We have bookmobiles out in the community. We provide home delivery. We're actually the only library in San Diego County, and I would encourage you to encourage other libraries to consider this. We deliver books and materials to the front doorstep of any resident in Oceanside. How's that for reducing barriers? We do lunch at the library over the summer. We do that all for our youth. But in addition, we noticed that we had a lot of older adults and adults coming in and saying, we'd like to get those services too. So we provide food boxes throughout the summer for our older adults to come in. We don't take any information. It's very anonymous. I think that's another really powerful thing of the public library. You can come in anonymously and receive assistance and support. We have book clubs. Talk about support. Wouldn't the world be a better place if there were more book clubs? It's just a fact. Book clubs create empathy. They help people come together that have differing views sitting across a table. I facilitated a book club this week, and there were two women that really were on opposite sides politically. But you know what? They had a conversation, they heard each other out, and they moved forward together. Please promote book clubs. It's also a way to put a theme outside of our personal experience, right? You're discussing the theme in the book. You're not making it personal. It really is a great way to advance conversation. We host digital literacy workshops that support basic computer, email, communication tools. These workshops are very, very basic level. It's a very safe place for seniors to ask questions that they don't really want to be asking. So encourage them to seek out those resources. We host art for older adult workshops because we know it's important for all of us, including older adults, to have opportunities to be creative and just have fun. We have community rooms. We have space. We charge $5 an hour for someone to use our community rooms. When people are looking for convenience, please keep us in mind because we want those spaces activated for conversation. We've created mini libraries. We have mini libraries at each one of our senior centers in Oceanside because it's important that there aren't barriers to having good quality materials. We do also have a really robust reads literacy program. So we have a program that has about 50 older adult tutors working one-on-one with adults, their families, and our ESL community. They assist them in goals, learning to read, speaking English, writing, using computers, passing a citizenship test, and finishing their high school diploma. We also offer English conversation classes at our senior centers. Something kind of rare with Oceanside is we oversee one of only 14 state designated cultural districts in the state of California. So libraries are a conduit not only to information, but also the cultural arts broaden and enrich our lives. Thank you.
Awesome. You can tell she's grounded. She loves her job, right? Thank you.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. I'm just in awe of everything that you do. That's remarkable. So for aging and independence services, I'm going to start out by giving you our No Wrong Door phone number. And as I just said that, it went out of my head. So some 800-339-4661. Yes?
Good.
Yes, my AIS people? Okay. It went out of my head and came back in just as quick. So for any of the things that I talk about today, if you or know somebody that's interested in any of these programs or could benefit from these programs, please reach out. We have a No Wrong Door. You can call about any service that an older adult or a person with disabilities may need, and we're happy to help connect them to services. Of course, one of our biggest programs that we think of for social capital is in-home supportive services, because that really allows individuals to receive care, and sometimes their caregiver is their only person visiting them. So in-home supportive services is a really important program to increase or decrease social isolation. Oftentimes the caregiver is a family member or a friend. I think it's a little over 70% of our caregivers, and I'm seeing our public authority people nodding, are family caregivers. And so it really allows them to make sure that those family members are, again, back to that interdependence, that those family members are able to be available to our older adults to make sure that they have what they need. One of the other things we do is we know that There's a lot of benefits for older adults if they don't stay in their home all day and they get out and they volunteer. So in addition to the Ombudsman program, we offer our Retired Senior Volunteer Program, which allows older adults to volunteer in a wide variety of opportunities, whether it's working at the Midway or at a garden, or you've seen those retired volunteer senior patrol cars out there directing traffic and giving out disabled parking tickets, those kinds of things. So we organize those kinds of volunteering opportunities, and it's really a great way for people to get out into the community and get to share their expertise, and including things even like You're Not Alone. So they go and they'll visit people in their homes if they're socially isolated. So if you know a socially isolated senior, please reach out to us so that we can connect them and make sure that they're not anymore. Another big project that we have worked on for very many years is our intergenerational programs. And our intergenerational programs, yes, they're remarkable because we know they don't just affect the older adults in our community. You know, it provides them a stronger sense of community. It decreases their social isolation. It improves the quality of their life. All of this is researched and known to be true. But it also helps the younger generation. So many people today live far away from their family members. I know my grandma lived in Texas and we lived here. And so we don't have an opportunity. Not only does the older adult not have the opportunity to be around their family members, but the grandchildren don't have the opportunity to learn the wisdom from older adults. And so our intergenerational programs throughout the years, whether it's our intergenerational games, our art activities, pickleball, but we also have intergenerational gardens, which also helps with food insecurity, gets the older adult out in the sun, teaching the younger generation how to dig in the dirt and grow tomatoes and things like that. So it's been a really great partnership with our schools and with some of our senior centers to get children, and for children to be able to see the importance of older adults, the wisdom that older adults bring. We also have our dementia-friendly efforts, which really is an effort to make inclusive spaces for people who are living with dementia and their caregivers. We heard a lot about how it can be very isolating to be a caregiver for somebody with dementia, and taking somebody out for dinner or to a movie is a very taxing thing, not just for the person with dementia, but also for the person providing the care, because the fear that they'll be shunned, or if behavior gets out of control or something happens, it can be very difficult. So we're really working with a lot of places like restaurants and businesses to help them understand how to create a dementia-friendly environment. Maybe if somebody says they're here with somebody with dementia, they place them in a quieter area of a restaurant instead of a loud, noisy area, and things like that. So it's been really a great program for us to make sure that we're inclusive of everybody in our communities. And then we do have our Age Well, which is part of our aging roadmap, our Age Well social participation and inclusion team. So they work with a lot of our partners to make sure that they have access to different tools, including our Get Connected program guide. That's what it's called. It's a guide, a Get Connected guide. And that helps to provide some opportunities for seniors to be less socially isolated as well. So those are just a couple. I could keep going on, but I'm going to be quiet now.
That's great.
Shout out to Aging Independent Services, the team at County, for doing a good job in implementing the Livable Community Program. My heart is close to that program. At AARP, we are a convener, and the county has really picked up to a higher level in terms of implementing the programs along the 10 domains, I think, that you're
Yes.
focusing on.
Yeah.
So good job.
Thank you. We appreciate AARP supporting that.
You bet. Happy to be part of it. June?
Thank you. Just a quick show of hands. How many people have visited or been to a senior center? Okay, great. This is it's more than most times when I ask that question. So San Diego Seniors Community Foundation sees senior centers as a critical hub for social capital when they're adequately funded. With that being said, our community foundation has granted out nearly $2 million to help support social capital programming in senior centers. So just to mention a few that they've been discussing intergenerational programming. We've funded intergenerational games to bring younger and older generations together. We've funded retirement camps for people that have just retired and they've enjoyed the quiet time, but now what am I going to do? It's that critical spot where they've enjoyed not working, but what am I going to do now? So we funded those camps to help answer those questions. Senior centers, they do congregate meals, they do fitness, art programs, all where social capital, social connections, relationships of trust can be built. So we see senior centers and all the programming that they do as vital resources to enhance seniors, older adults' ability to thrive. Research shows that seniors don't typically go beyond 4 miles for resources. We understand that transportation is a challenge. So our goal is to strengthen our 28 senior centers all across the county to be these hubs where seniors can go to find resources and connect with the staff, their friends, to have trusted partners in daily life. And another thing that we've done, someone mentioned pickleball. We've funded, we helped fund a pickleball court at the Norman Park Senior Center in Chula Vista, and they have intergenerational tournaments, and they have older adults using the pickleball courts in the daytime, youngers in the evening, and they're just that connection develops long-lasting friendships. We've had people invite older and younger families to their holiday program, their holiday events in their home. And one of our most heartfelt initiatives to help promote social capital and grow our seniors community is our No Senior Alone, especially during the holidays. So our No Senior Alone, we grant funds to senior centers and other senior serving agencies to put on holiday events, to take seniors to see the lights at Balboa or in Coronado, just to give a sense of community. They're not forgotten, especially during the time where the holidays can feel very, very lonely. We've extended this programming to year round. We funded transportation for senior centers to go to the safari park, which they had a great time. They asked for more community outings, and that's one thing that we don't often think about as social capital. The ability to go out and engage into your community, to be a tourist in your own backyard. We surveyed our participants at the safari park, and some of them have not left their city except for medical appointments in 3 to 5 years, simply because of transportation. So if transportation, vital component for social capital, being able to extend that 3 to 5 miles for our seniors to engage with their community at large. I don't want to, we focus on various other programming that they've already mentioned. So I just wanted to highlight a few things that we've been doing and focus on.
You did good, June. And, June, thank you. Her organization is also reimagining the architecture and the layout of senior centers. That's a very important aspect in terms of leveraging capital in these senior communities, right? You need to reevaluate the architecture, the layout. Is it older adult friendly? So I think their organization is doing this, and you kind of touch on it, but I just wanted to share that with the rest of the group.
You're sneak peeking my answer for question number 3.
Okay, so punchline. All right. So as a moderator, I think I have the prerogative to flex the form, right? So we have, yeah, talking to you, right? Okay. Oh, no. So there's a third question on the deck, but we're gonna allow the audience to be part of that conversation as opposed to us up here dealing with that question. And the question is about the future. The future is difficult to predict, but I've heard from a wise man that you can shape it by what you do every day within your sphere of influence, right? That is the theme of the third question. But we're going to open it up to have the audience participate in that conversation and for the panelists to pay a special eye, perhaps, in terms of what the future looks like and where we can make a difference. So this is actually the Q&A part, right?
You want to restate the question, Joe?
Question is about the future. What are your concerns about the future? Where can organizations like these panelists here represent make a difference in terms of shaping a future that is leveraging social capital in the community? Long question, but yes.
Chris Kelly from the San Diego Seniors Community Foundation. I believe that the infrastructure for aging in San Diego and across the country is busted, so we need to fix it for today and tomorrow's senior. And so that's why we believe at the Seniors Foundation reimagining and reinventing and innovating the senior center model and a club, like you said, Survivor. If we create these into clubs and not senior centers and a place that we all want to hang out, that with the civic engagement of volunteerism and more in the community, that's what we want for tomorrow's San Diego. We go to one source for the answer on aging, whether it's adult children or the senior themselves for physical, mental, social health.
To be clear, if anybody wants to make a Survivor club, you speak to me afterwards. Okay.
As an ombudsman, we see gaps in the service provider model. Situations where people may be in a long-term care facility are able to go home, but they don't have the connection to the services, or the services may be there, but don't start right away. And the gap in between those services is a huge barrier for many people to actually return to the community. And I think in the future, we have to work on the flow of how services are connected with each other and how people can access those services so those gaps are not there. Because we see people, in a sense, stuck in a situation that there's really no good answer. What do I do if I'm in an assisted living and I run out of money? Where am I going to go? And so that's what I see in the future is a huge need, is the more cohesiveness and connectedness between all the different senior services in order to meet the needs when things arise.
Yeah.
We'll take two more if anybody's feeling wild.
Hi, I'm Gabby with Partner in Aging, primarily senior placement agency. I think something that could kind of be improved is pushing people to be proactive about what they want in their older years and how they want to age, and communicate that not in a scary way to their family members. So when they get there, their family members don't have to make those difficult decisions and scramble, because usually it happens when people are already in the hospital and the daughters or the spouses are having to figure that out. So just finding a way to make it less scary and have people have the discussions early, have those plans set in place. And so when things do come up, they can have that set and there's not anyone else making those decisions for them.
Hi, I'm Veronica Mitchell. I'm a writer in San Diego. I'm also the chair of the Caregiver Coalition of San Diego. And as an unpaid family caregiver, I would like to address income. We lose upwards of $3 trillion in income and job growth that we will never get back. As a 58-year-old woman taking care of an 89 and 90-year-old parents, that's the biggest thing for most of us, is how are we going to live? 27%, I think, of unpaid family caregivers die before their care recipient. So we're talking about a serious silver tsunami that's coming, and I don't know how we're all going to deal with it.
In San Diego, we hope we can surf, but it's a big wave. Yeah. Okay.
Then hi, I'm Vivian. I'm a Master Public Health student at UCLA. And I think for me, like when I think of hopefully the future, maybe I'm just being hopeful as a master's student, but for me, I really am excited by like the ability to kind of connect research efforts with community-based organizations already doing the work. Like I try to like plan, implement, and evaluate a lot of older adult programming. And there's sometimes not the research that we need to justify the money put into these programs, specifically in diverse populations. So for me, that's one big area of intervention that I'm hopeful will grow.
One more, and then we'll give the last word to each of our panelists.
One more.
Yeah. Are we good on time?
Oh, cool. Okay. He's gonna meet me halfway. This is nice. Okay.
Hi, everyone. Cole Samaru from Senior Tech Connect. I just want to point out that I think if you were to look 5 years ago to today, the change in this space is tremendous. Even across the street at Sharp, the way that they have reimagined their generational health program, it's no longer just geriatrics. It's understanding that it takes a village to support an aging population, a very complex, patient amongst whatever the age group might be, and how can we, leverage all of the resources throughout the community to do that. And I think today is an example of that. So the culture is definitely changing. We have a lot of work to do, but I just want to point out that change over the last couple of years.
Awesome. That's great. Thank you all for participating.
Okay. So last word from each of our panelists. Jennifer?
Sure. Thank you for your very thoughtful comments. I think we share some of the same concerns and some of the thoughts that you all shared today. I think we are going into, as Sarah pointed out, a very uncertain time. This is a time when actually some of our services at a federal level are looking like they may be actually becoming a little bit less cohesive and a little bit more spread out between different departments. And so we know that we locally and at the state are going to really have to, I don't mean to speak for you, Sarah, but I think that we are going to have to redouble our efforts to make sure that we don't become fragmented here, that we are looking to work together and to partner. I know aging and independent services cannot solve these problems, cannot look to the future without all the partners that are here in this room and so many other that are out there. We do have some good things on the horizon, though. I mean, we have CalAIM as an opportunity for us, for those that are receiving Medi-Cal, and may be an answer to some of the transitions out of facilities. There are other opportunities out there that we're going to have to partner with some of our foundations on in the near term, I think, rather than relying on some of the resources from that we are used to relying on for things. And I think also there are some very big issues coming up, like our caregivers, and the financial support that they're going to need going forward. But I also think there's this beautiful opportunity for us to continue to prepare for what this looks like, so that I know that times change. We're going through maybe a little bit of a rough spell right now, but eventually we're going to come back to a time when we're going to have a little bit more resources. And if we are together as a community preparing now for those times, then we'll be able to hit the gas as soon as those times change again. And I think for us also, we always need to remember our biggest resource And that is our older adults and understanding what they're living through and what they're going through. This is Older Americans Month. So it's a really great time for us to make sure that we're getting the message out there. This month is called Flip This. They're focusing on Flip the Script and making sure that we're just not looking at the deficits that might happen as we get older, but also looking at the amazing opportunities to learn from older adults and get their wisdom about how to solve some of these problems. Older adults have been through difficult times in the past and have survived and have thrived as a result. And so we really need to look to them to help us shape what the future is going to look like too.
CJ, and then June.
Oh, is it me?
Yeah.
No,
Go ahead.
oh, okay. Thank you. So I'm glad someone brought up silver tsunami. Our population of older adults in San Diego by 2030 is going to be nearly 1 million people. So for San Diego Seniors Community Foundation, the future is now in terms of we need to plan or we're going to be grossly underprepared. So what we're doing to shape the future of aging in San Diego is a multi-pronged approach. We've created the Senior Center Master Plan to support the California Master Plan on Aging. We feel senior centers can be these vibrant community hubs where people go to for social capital programming, but then also can be locations to support prehabilitative health. The fitness classes, your line dancing classes, those are prehabilitative to prevent falls. Singing classes, choirs, those are in essence speech therapy. So let's focus on our senior centers that are already in our communities to help support the health, not just the physical health, not just the emotional and social health of our seniors. We've also created the State of Seniors report. If you're looking for senior data for specifically San Diego, it can be very challenging. So we are creating and putting all of that information in one place. So we have a benchmark to look at where are we now and where are we going into the future? Should our focus and priorities be? And also to help inform and advocate to policymakers on some of the things that we need, the resources to inform systemic change. We are working with national thought leaders and experts to bring evidence-based practices to San Diego and adopt an age-friendly community. And those things are focuses that will help shape the future. We're looking for a future that's vibrant, engaged, and inclusive. Just on a personal note, I'd like to acknowledge what you said in terms of family caregivers. On a personal note, I am a family caregiver. I would love to see an adult care tax credit. We have child care tax credits, and anyone that knows or has taken care of a family member know that it's expensive. It is more expensive than daycare, and just a bold hope is that we can see an adult care tax credit, at least for our children that are going to be taking care of us. So these are things that I would love to see in our future. These are things that we are advocating for, not just in our community, but leveraging our national connections to put these into the ear of our policymakers. The San Diego Seniors Community Foundation has created a San Diego a senior center coalition that brings together all of our senior centers to identify their challenges, identify their gaps. It's always funding, it's always transportation, but what about programs? What are your seniors asking for? What are they saying what their needs are? Whether it be fresh produce, a snack bar, more social engagements. We want to hear from our seniors to help shape the future of their lives and the future of our aging population in San Diego.
Hey, June, we're gonna wrap up. I see
Yes.
the hammer there.
Thank you.
All right.
All right.
So CJ, take us home.
I just have two quick things. As Sarah mentioned, plan. Working with CEAL has been an extraordinary experience. They come into our community, they're welcome, they're open, they're listening. Our seniors are so engaged with them. These guys are rock stars. If you know a community that is not doing this work, ask them to do it because they do the heavy lifting. You show up, you support them, you listen to their recommendations, and it's so beneficial. So something that I would love to see more in the future, I want to see more social prescriptions. I want people to come into the library and say, show me their prescription pad that says, visit the library 1 time per week. Join a social group, become part of a club. I want to see social prescriptions for our older adults.
Awesome. Let's give the panel a big hand. Thank you. Thank you all. Okay.
Thank you, Joe.
All right. Thank you all so much. I'm actually going to be going to my doctor to get that social prescription as soon as possible. I need to get to the library more. I'm going to give you all about, let's say 10 minutes before our next panel for you to take some time to build your social capital, connect with all the awesome people around you, with our exhibitors, and we will see you back here at promptly 11:20 for our next panel. Thank you guys.